Good morning, brothers and sisters in the Lord. This is the day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in Him. Our text and meditation this morning is Exodus chapter 14, verse 15 to 18. Exodus chapter 14, verse 15 to 18. I read from the NIV version. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Why are you crying out to me? Tell the Israelites to move on. Raise your staff and stretch out your hand over the sea to divide the waters so that the Israelite can go through the sea on a dry ground. I will harden the hearts of the Egyptians so that they will go after them, and I will gain glory through Pharaoh and all his army, through his chariots and his horsemen. The Egyptian will know that I am the Lord when I gain glory through Pharaoh, his chariots, and the horsemen." My dear brothers and sisters, we see the situation whereby in our last meditation, we saw how God was saying we should stand and be stilled. That one was from Exodus. So there is something I want to bring out today. When you read Exodus 14 verse 10, you will see that when Pharaoh approached the Israelites looked up, and they were the Egyptians. When they looked, they saw the Egyptians marching after them. They were terrified. And one thing they did was that they cried out to the Lord. So when they were in that situation where in front of them was the Red Sea, behind were the Egyptians marching and coming, they didn't know their way out. What they did was that they cried out to the Lord. And when we look at our verse 15 of our text this morning, we see here also where the Lord was also talking to Moses to say, "Moses, why are you crying out to me? Why are you crying out to me?" And God instructed him, "Tell the Israelites to move on." So what we see here, which we can learn and apply in our life, is that in the midst of that difficult situation in our life where we don't know the way forward, what to do, because ahead of us maybe it's a Red Sea, behind us the enemy is coming. What you need to do, the first one which we mentioned in our last video was that be stilled. The second one is that cry out to God. Cry out to God, not to people. Do not speak the impossibilities. Do not speak what you see or feel. They were in front of the Red Sea. They could see that is water in front of them, and there was no way out. And they could see behind of them the Egyptian coming with their chariot, with their horsemen and everything with full force. What they did, they cry out to God. So I want to encourage you, my dear brother and sister, this morning, that whatever situation you're going through, please cry out to God. Cry out to God, because He is in charge. Remember, He's the one who has said He will deliver us. Cry out to God. Do not talk about the problem. Do not talk about the impossibilities. Do not bother about what will happen, how will it be done. Just cry out to God, believing that He will intervene. We see in this situation, God was even asking Moses, "Why are you crying out to me?" God is also asking you, "Why are you crying out?" And He told them, God now spoke. Because of their cry, God spoke. God told Moses to tell the Israelites to move on, to move on. Then the next instruction was that he should raise his staff and stretch out his hand over the Red Sea to divide the Red Sea so that the Israelite will be able to go through the Red Sea on the ground. So, my dear brothers and sisters, the solution you and I are seeking, God has it. Let's cry out to God. When we are in that situation and on that four-way crossroad of our lives where we do not know what to do, where to go, please cry out to God. Cry out to God. And once you cry out to God, believe God. Do not focus on what you see or on the impossibilities. Focus on God, who is able to open a way in the Red Sea and you walk on the dry land. And that is why God told Moses to say, raise your staff over the sea to divide that water so that the Israelite can go through the sea on the dry land. So God is able to open the sea and make you and I go through it on dry land. God is able to make impossibilities possible and bring you and bring me and bring us out of whatever situation we find ourselves into. Let's not stop limiting God to say, how will it happen? How possible will it be? Or we start talking about the impossibilities. No. Confess your faith in God. Cry out to God. Cry out to God. And once you cry out to God, believe God that He's able to make impossibilities possible, that He's able to open the way in the Red Sea. And God went further again to tell Moses that He will harden the heart of Pharaoh. He will harden the heart of Pharaoh so that they will go after them. But He will take glory in that situation such that they will know He is God. So at times, even what I learned here, the enemy might keep following you, even though your deliverance is nearer to dawn, or you are at that verge of your deliverance. The enemy may keep following you. Stop focusing on that enemy. God might still harden their heart so that they run after you, after me, after us, so that their destruction will be total and complete. Their destruction will be total and complete. So my encouragement to you, my dear brother, this morning is that despite whatever you're going through, cry to God and believe God that He's able to make impossibilities possible. Do not focus on the Egyptians, on the enemy that keep pressing on, and when you see, you think that they are succeeding. No, do not do that. Cry out to God. God will be able to make a way out. And another lesson we see here, there was a constant communication between Moses and God. In the midst of that confusion, God was talking to Moses and Moses was talking to God. The communication is one person talking to the other and the other replying talking to the other. That is why God could tell Moses, why are you crying to me? Raise your staff so that the rest will be divided into two. I will harden the heart of the Egyptian so that I'll show my glory. So you see that in the midst of the challenges, no way forward, what to do, Moses was in constant communication with God. We need to be in constant communication with God. We need to be in constant communication with God in our challenges. Even in the midst of our challenges, not knowing the way out, we should always remain in constant communication with God so that He will tell us the next step and we'll be able to walk trusting God and keeping and walking with His time. Amen. So my application today is that I will keep crying out to God and I will keep being in constant communication with God, irrespective of my challenges or my difficulties, or even irrespective of the fact that there might be no way forward. I'll be in constant communication with God. So I want to encourage you this morning, my dear brother and sister. When God promises to deliver, He will deliver. Let's keep crying out to God. Let's remain in constant communication with God. And communication means talking to Him and sitting to listen to hear Him reply us. To hear Him reply, or because definitely He will reply us and He will give us the next steps, and He even prepare us ahead of challenges that might come. But He will make a way for us in the Red Sea. He is able. He is able. If He did it for the Israelites in those days, He is still the same God, and He will do it for you today. Dear brother and sister, keep holding on to God. Keep crying out to Him. Keep on being in constant communication with Him. Talk to Him. Wait upon Him to talk back. Listen to Him. Talk to Him and remain still as we trust God for deliverance and begin to expect that God is able to make a way in the Red Sea for you. God is able to make impossibilities possible. It doesn't matter. Stop thinking about what you see, feel, or have heard. Trust God. He is able. He created everything. He's able to make a way for you in particular. Be blessed. Amen.